rules of a touchback going out to the 25-yard line, wouldn't it make more sense for kickers to kick the ball higher and to have it come down at like the 2 or 3 and force a run back? Because generally they're either not going to get out to the 25 or there's going to be a penalty, because there always seems to be a penalty on a kickoff, which is going to move the ball back. Wouldn't that help field position if kickers started to kick in the field?
This time of year, teams do it. So if you watched last weekend, there were a number of times when they do it. Harrison Butker did it last week. So the week before against the Raiders, anyway, when it's colder, there's wind, you're maybe not going to get it 5 yards deep. So you just kick it really high to the corner with instead of 4-second hang time, 8 yards deep, you kick it 4-4 hang time to the 2. That's exactly what can happen. And if you need to get the ball back, if you're winning, then you probably are better just to kick the ball through,
right,
to not give them the chance of breaking through and having a big return.
Yeah, that's true. I have a question from a standpoint of being an adult. Stress.
Is this a different standpoint than normal?
Yeah.
I was going to say, when did that happen?
I was an adult. What would I do?
That's right. We deal with stress all the time in various forms, man. But you particularly being a kicker and kickers in general, when you're out there, I mean, a lot of times the game's on the line. And it's like, you get 3 seconds left, the score's tied, or you're down by 2 or 3 points and you need the field goal. And if you miss it, then you lose the game, not the team. It's you lost the game. So how do you deal with that, man?
Well, first of all, you train so that you are walking through your mental and physical being, every kind of situation, especially crucial kicks. In fact, the truth is, any game that I ever missed a kick, I felt was a failure, right? Unless it was a 60-yarder and I'd made 4 field or whatever. That one field goal haunts you. You wake up during the night after the game, trying to make it go through. So that's the essence of being a great kicker, is all these guys that can kick it like Justin Tucker, 66 yards or 70, but they can't do it when it matters in a game. So you have to practice that way. That's the way Pete Carroll practiced. The one great year we had with him, they should have kept him in New York. And really most of the great teams, they understand that. You've got to practice as if it's a game. So you accept that, and the better you are. I mean, I tell this story all the time. 1988 happened twice, 1988 and 1992. So I was 22 for 23 in 1988, which is an NFL record for percentage late in the season. And I come into a Quick Trip store, gas, and I'm getting some eggs and some orange juice, and it's not too far from the stadium. And I go in there, and the lady behind the counter goes, "You're Nick Lowry." "Yeah, the kicker for the Chiefs." "Yeah. I saw you miss that field goal." "What the hell is wrong with you?" And so the truth is, unfair criticism is absolutely part of the formula of being great and important at anything. Being president, being a great radio host, podcast host, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, policeman, one wrong move in your career, what are you going to be measured for? So that is horrible pressure. That's horrible stuff. But, taking pride in being the best you can be and understanding unfair criticism comes with it is kind of the only way to deal with it. I mean, especially today, because it's not only unfair criticism, it's criticism from anonymous people that don't know what they're talking about.
Sometimes. Sure, yeah.
And you just have to, Michael Jordan, Julius Erving would always say, have your standards so high that they can never be exceeded by the expectations of others, and that's really what it is you just love the work. When I talk to kids every day, last night, a couple kids I was talking to, it's always about that, loving the work, finding what stirs your passions, what makes you feel like you're doing something special, and have the standard to be the best at that and work your tail off. And that's the only way I made it. I mean, we haven't mentioned that. I was cut and rejected 11 times by 8 teams, but the Nick Lowry in 1978, they got cut by the Patriots after 2 games, even though we beat the Chargers and the Raiders on national TV, was not the same one 2 years later. I was able to be confident that I'd paid my dues and I was ready to beat out, at that point, the greatest kicker in the history of the game, Jan Stenerud, head to head every day and break all his records. So the hard work and the discipline, loving that. And then finally, of course, the reward is knowing, not thinking, but knowing you're better than you've ever been and you're getting better. And that you know what the path to that is, which is the daily creative examination of and discipline to not only do the work, but then look at what your discipline is and improve it. How do I even get better? How do I look at the mechanics of my body to make myself an even better performer?
You're not thinking I'm going to have to adopt that whole philosophy next time I'm over a 4-foot putt. That's going to help. I do understand, Nick, that you do a lot of excellent work outside of football. And when we come right back, we want to delve into that and talk about it a bit right here. We are the Approach Shot. Nick Lowry, Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame and top 20 point scorers of all time in the NFL. He's our guest, and he's got a bit of a personality.
He was number one when he finished, damn it.
He's number one. I'll
He's
give
number
my
one.
finger. We'll be right back. Hang with us.
Hey, it's Neil, and like you, I've heard about a lot of folks making money with crypto, but frankly, outside of Bitcoin, I know nothing about crypto. Well, I was curious, and on YouTube, I found Crypto with James and started watching. James is cryptocurrency expert James McMahon, and his Copy My Crypto membership site shows you the very cryptocurrencies that he personally holds, so you can actually just copy them. Crypto with James's YouTube channel has over 15,000 subscribers and 1 million views. As an example, James's top pick of the year, a coin called Phantom, is currently up 440 times what it was when he originally made it one of his picks. Imagine if you had just put $1,000 into that one investment. So join the 1,300 members who already take advice from or just copy James by going to copymycrypto.com/approach. You'll not only find proof of everything I've said, but listeners of the Approach Shot can join for just $1. You won't find this offer anywhere else on the internet. That's copymycrypto.com/approach and join today for just $1.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Generic sildenafil allows you to save up to $650 on Viagra. Why pay name brand prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get the same results for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 50 generic sildenafil pills for just $99. Call 800-590-0443. That's 800-590-0443. Again, 800-590-0443.
All right. Sorry we were gone so long. We are back. John Ashton here. Neil Michaels there. Nick Lowry is our guest. And the whole stream of consciousness thing, I've been singing Bad Boys since I saw your name on the schedule coming up.
Just
so
don't.
Anyhow.
Yeah, so you're not allowed.
No, there is no singing. The rule is there's no singing on this.
No, the rule is you can't sing.
Well,
nobody else has to follow that rule. Everything you just said in the last segment, Nick, about the mindset and believing in your greatness, and John sort of threw this away, so I wanted to bring it back up. You play golf. Is this the kind of thing that really can be translated? Because you were one of the greatest kickers of all time, certainly very, very top of your field. But then you get out into the golf course and you're not Tiger Woods. You do play. How do you get yourself into the mindset of saying, I might not be the greatest at this, but I'm going to use that same thought process to go out here and compete?
Well, big distinction is, besides being realistic with your talent, I mean, I think I could have ended up being pretty good in golf. My brother, Mark, was a tennis pro, so I learned the proper form in tennis. I actually won the U.S. Open Celebrity Doubles all 3 years I was with the Jets on CBS the day before the U.S. Open started, because I understood and I loved the training for it. And it took an hour and a half, not 18 million hours like golf. Having said that, you have to be realistic at any age, but particularly as you get older, that you're willing to put in the commitment and the work to be great in golf. Golf, more than any sport just about, requires just a lot of work to get that touch and that awareness of distance and all the different types of shots you have. Having said that, if, big if, capital I, capital F, your commitment is to be great and to do the work. Then part of the work can be, as John was talking about, lining up that 4-foot putt. You practice it 1,000 times. And then you can literally say, as I had a show on Sirius Satellite called Head Games, and I had Bart Connor on. I think he had the first perfect 10 in men's gymnastics in the U.S. You literally make practice so much like the game, like the match or the performance, that when you get to the actual arena, you say, I'm back at practice. You make it so that you can fool yourself into just trusting that. And that's really what it comes down to, is trusting that you don't have to do anything more than just be what you've always been. Then the way the brain works, complicated a little bit, but really when you are self-conscious, the brain will activate the large muscle groups for fight or flight, and your touch is diminished. When you're less self-conscious, if you create a word that helps you release that and just react, all of the millions of synapses in the brain just do what they naturally do. Your natural flow when you throw, your natural flow when you kick, your natural flow when you hit a baseball, when you hit a golf ball, all those things can take over. So for me, as an analogy, and for those that play golf, this is one thing you could do. Find what works for you. I would be lining up that kick in my first step as I'm approaching the ball, not my first step, but my plant step. I was a right-footed kicker. My left foot, I go left foot, which was reminding me just to point the left foot exactly at the target. And then secondly, I'd say explode. That's what worked for me. Explode was not try to kill the ball, but just attack it. And so my game-winning field goal percentages went up more too, because I just, when you're self-conscious and trying to be too perfect, that's when you get in trouble.
Cool.
Excellent. He would make a good golf instructor, don't you think?
I think.
I think
I would know just enough to really screw them up.
that's funny. That's kind of how we play. We know just enough to screw up every time.
My next door neighbor, so to my right, coming out my front door, 2 doors down, was Muhammad Ali. To my left, 2 doors down and across the street, was Gary McCord.
Oh,
And Gary is one of the funniest people ever.
greatest mustache in golf, man.
Greatest mustache. And he was partners with Peter Costas.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter's email was not Bob. Pretty funny. And they started a golf school. So when I interviewed them together, sometimes I'd say, so Peter, what does Gary do? And Peter would say, in his rather caustic humor, that was his style, I pay Gary to stay the hell away from the golf school. That's what they do for me. They pay me to stay away.
Gotcha. So, Nick, there's a whole lot of information that has come our way regarding your work with the homeless in Arizona, and you started a group called Champions for the Homeless. Part of the mission is to make it so that people don't think homeless people are invisible, that they're human beings too. They deserve to be treated as such. So I'm very interested in hearing how that came about and what you do.
Well, I think all of us can find something that really matters to us. And frankly, if it's one thing, one person that we help every day, it's amazing how that changes the caliber of our life and experience. And I don't even remember exactly how it was. I think I was invited down to St. Vincent de Paul 17 years ago. And I just thought, I should do something more with this. So we started a thing where I would get 15 of my NFL brothers here wearing their jerseys. And then I got 1,000 flowers. And then we added music. And so as they come in through St. Vincent de Paul, they walk through and they're welcomed by all these pretty ladies. We got to always have Miss Arizona's there. And all these ladies, we started with the big guys handing out flowers. It just didn't feel right. So they then followed as they're coming down. They have these large guys welcoming them. And our whole thing is to put a human face, but also just to come from unconditional love and respect. And so, really the same spirit as the one I alluded to with Muhammad Ali, just everybody's important. And so I spend what grew from 30 volunteers to 400 volunteers. I spend 20 minutes before just saying the most important thing, because you're so used to what's my goal, what's my role, what do I do as a volunteer, is the most important thing you can do is treat every single person as the most important person with love and respect, and ask them their story. So we hand out now, it's grown and evolved. We've added all these different layers to it. So now give away $1,000 $5 gift certificates to Starbucks and McDonald's.